Hello and welcome to Aldershot for the second week of Inter-Services Under-23 football action, brought to you live by BFBS. I'm Kath Brazier, and in a moment we'll be hearing from both teams. But first, let's look back at the best of Army versus RAF Under-23 football action from years gone by. Now, it wasn't the most inspiring match at Rayners Lane last week. A goalless draw played out between the Royal Navy and the Royal Air Force. So let's find out what to expect today. You got to see the game last week. Obviously, you were on commentary between the RAF and the Royal Navy. Does that give you sort of an advantage coming in with the Army in the second week, having seen your two opposition playing last week?
In many ways, yes, it does. We get to analyse both teams, and we get the glorious footage from BFBS as well, so that's great. But also we are second, so we don't have a taste of the first game like the RAF do today. So in many ways, yes, we do have the advantage, but we know it's going to be a tough game regardless.
What could you take from the RAF team in particular going into this week's fixture from last week's game? Because it was a fairly uninspiring goalless draw, but I'm sure as a football head coach you were looking at other stuff, and you'll be able to tell your boys what to look out for.
We know they're very organised. They created a lot of opportunities that on that day they failed to convert, but that doesn't mean they won't fail to convert them today. So we know fully what to expect from them, and we expect a really tough game, and we need to be absolutely on it today to compete and have a good game.
Difficult circumstances for the Army Under-23s last year. We won't go too much into what happened, but needless to say, you didn't get the title, and it wasn't for footballing reasons. Have you got a point to prove this year, to show that Army Under-23 football is strong and ready to win?
We know Army football is strong. It's in a great place. It was unfortunate with the administration error last year, but we've done enough to win the competition had we not fell foul of that. So we're going to be aiming to do it again, and we will have that little sour taste to go one better this year and lift that trophy.
And finally, a home advantage, really lovely weather. Are you confident?
Quietly confident. I think the boys are well prepared as best as they can be. But anything can happen in 90 minutes, we know that, and we're just going to give it everything we've got and see what we do at the end.
Great, thanks very much, Griff, and good luck.
Thank you.
Danny, what did you take away from last week's game? I mean, on paper, a goalless draw, but there must have been some positives that you got out of that taking into the second week.
Yeah, I mean, I think we controlled the game last week. We were a little bit unlucky, lacked a little bit of composure in the final third. So we worked on that this week, and if we can take our chances, hopefully we'll get the right result today.
That's the thing, isn't it? There were chances on both sides, and your defence was incredibly strong and you're really well organised. But is it that conviction to sort of go forward and attack the ball a little bit more? Yeah,
I think, in the first game in the services, everyone seems a little bit cagey. We probably didn't push on as much as we could have pushed on, especially when the Navy went down to 10. But we've got to give Navy credit. They were outstanding when they defended.
The Army will be confident because they're at home. They've got their 2 games left, and with a goalless draw they have a slight advantage with that. What do you know about the Under-23 setup with the Army, or is it just more about focusing on your boys and what they've got to do?
We'll focus on what we've got to offer, but we know that Griff will have their team well organised, hard to beat. They're a good team. They've done well over the last few years with the inter-services, so we'll respect them, but ultimately we'll go and play our game and hopefully get the right result.
Great, thanks again, Danny, and good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. It's another Bluebird day for these military footballers, so let's get excited about the football and join our commentary team of BFBS's Kyle Dixon, and he's with the Royal Navy's Under-23 head coach, Lieutenant Commander Chris James.
Thanks, Kath. Welcome to the glorious sunshine of Aldershot. For the second week in a row we've got sunshine on this fixture, and it is a big day in terms of the Inter-Services title. After last week's 0-0 draw between the RAF and the Royal Navy, it is all in the balance. So enter the British Army, who have got a point to prove after last year, where the title they felt should have been theirs, but an administrative error meant they were deducted points the Royal Navy got their hands on the trophy. Speaking of the Royal Navy, I'm very pleased to say actually that our co-commentator today, last week in the game between the RAF and the Navy, we had Army representation. Well, today we have Royal Navy representation in the under-23 head coach, Chris James. Welcome to the broadcast. You are scouting the game, I'm sure, but also hoping for a good game.
Yeah, hi everybody. Hi Kyle, thanks for having us here. Yeah, really looking forward to it. A good game last week in terms of a result for us, but interested to see what the Army will bring to the competition this year, and yeah, I'll obviously be having a close eye on what they get up to this afternoon.
Well, as the players start, I believe, to make their way to the pitch, we are expecting national anthems and handshakes. So let's run through the teams now so you guys are fully aware of who will be playing. We'll be starting with the hosts, the British Army in red. And there is a team here that really are looking to, in their minds, right the wrongs of 2022. Players to look out for up front: Owen James, ex-Oxford, Reading and Wickham Academy player, but also a special mention for the captain, number 5, Alfie Moulding, who in last year's inter-services in the match against the Royal Navy suffered a horrific leg break, and he is back for the Army. A big bonus for them. On to the RAF then, and one change from the 0-0 draw with the Royal Navy. Left winger Matt Hendry drops out. In comes Josh Randall, who wasn't available last week at all. It's quite a surprising change actually for you, Chris, because you felt that Matt Hendry had a very good game against you guys on the left wing.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought Matt was very good. I thought both sides actually, they gave us real problems with their pace and physicality in the wide areas, so it'll be interesting to see what Josh brings in.
Well, Logan Buick will be one man that the Army will have to be careful of. He scored against them last year. He knows what it means to score against the Army in the inter-services. And like I say, we are expecting the players out shortly. We were expecting them out now, but as always, players take their time in the dressing room, getting ready for a big game. And from a Royal Navy perspective for you now, we were speaking about this earlier, the worst thing you're going to want is a heavy RAF win.
Yeah, absolutely. I think obviously for us a draw would be a really good result from this. Either way, whatever happens, it's in our hands. So as we spoke to the boys after the game last week, great result. Don't lose your first game. If you can't win it, make sure it's a draw, and then you've got all to play for in your second game. So that's the position we find ourselves in, and we'll react to whatever we see here today, whatever the scoreline is today. Well, I hope you won't mind me saying that as a neutral, I'm hoping for goals this week. We are hoping for goals. Last week we didn't get our first live goal of this championships. Today could be the day. There's actually quite a few VIPs in attendance. I have noticed that the RAF senior team manager Andy Cookter is here keeping an eye on potential call-ups for the senior team, and that's in a way what this level is all about, getting them ready for main senior inter-services, isn't it? Yes, absolutely. It's a competition in its own right, but ultimately the whole point of the season and the development squads for all three teams is to unearth new talent, bring them through, and see if we can get them through into the senior teams, because that's where the real competition really matters. Well, we are live on YouTube, Force News YouTube. We're also live on the Facebook page. So if you guys want to get involved, make sure you drop a comment, and we will do our best to read them out, as long as our signal here in Aldershot lasts so that I can see them. As the players make their way onto the field then, RAF will be in their traditional light blue, the Army in their traditional red, which is always nice to see. We don't want to see change strips. We want to see everyone in their correct colours, so to speak. Absolutely. I'm a big fan of us in the blue rather than the white, and yeah, we'll hope that'll be us next week. Big moment for a number of Army players here who are playing in their first inter-services at this level. It's time for them to line up and time to get the business done on the field. They are bathed in wonderful sunshine, and like I said, for the second week in a row we've got this sunshine that actually for goalkeepers might cause a bit of an issue. I don't see any caps yet, but at some point you would think you'll see some caps. We do know that the final game next week in Portsmouth between the Navy and the Army is played in the evening, so no chance of this sunshine. So let's enjoy it while we can. We'll get the sun cream out, we'll be fine. And
There's a bit of a breeze as well. I can see a bit of a breeze. We will be getting the national anthem, and then we will get underway, hopefully, for 3 o'clock as planned, but it may be a little bit after 3 o'clock the way it's going. Aldershot's Military Stadium then has hosted many inter-services games, both under 23s, senior men's, senior women's. So it's the right stadium for a big game.
It's a great venue. The pitch is always in really good shape as well. They do a great job of it here, so you can play whatever style of football you want to play. If you want to play on the ground, you can do, but it's a great big size, so you've got space in behind if you want to exploit that as well. So always really enjoy coming up here. What sort of game do you think we're going to get tactically? I know we saw the RAF last week, and as you mentioned to me earlier off camera, it was a very sort of using the wingers, getting involved, getting crosses into the box. What do you think we'll get from the Army? I know some of them are quite unknown, but... Well, looking at the size of them, they're going to be knocking it up to big guys or dealing with the long balls over the top for themselves, because they've got some great height there by the looks of it. So I expect them generally to be physical, obviously, and looking at the size, that probably will take shape. But I would suspect pretty direct, similar to the RAF last week.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding for the national anthem.
National anthem, always a big moment before the games, and respectfully and passionately done as always. And handshakes. There is always respect at this level, even though the rivalry is there. Even I know you're from the Royal Navy, so you can't quite speak to the RAF Army rivalry, but lots of rivalry between each 3 services. Yeah, 100%. The whatever happened previously is almost irrelevant now. It's back to, you know, those 11 guys playing 11 guys from another service, and that is all that matters now for those guys. That's going to be their 100% focus. Get one over on the other services and try and get the 3 points to go toward their tallies. Well, I just want to point out a big game for number 9 for the RAF, Luke Preen, leading the line. He led the line last week against the Royal Navy, and as we spoke about, lots of great play on the wing, good balls in, but unfortunately Luke Preen just wasn't quite his day against you guys. Give the Navy credit, I will give you credit for a great defensive performance to stifle him, but is today the day that he's come good for the RAF if they're going to have any chance of winning the title? Yeah, well, they're going to need to win this if they're going to win the title. You know, that's the first thing as far as they're concerned. They can't come out of this with 1 point, so they're going to have to get goals from somewhere. Like you say, we dealt with it really well, I think, centrally, and we were compact and shape-wise we were really efficient, kept the play wide and stifled and limited their chances. So we'll see what the RAF can produce today. I know the British Army are missing one player that they were really hoping to play today due to well, other needs elsewhere in the British Army. So they still have a lot of talent, though. We're looking at the Remy Young Player of the Year in Aaron Moore, number 9, a Woolwich Cup winner. We're looking at Owen James, as we mentioned. We're looking at people like Dylan McKinley in his first season, looking to prove something for the British Army, while the RAF, of course, have their very good attacking talent as well. Yeah, they were really impressive last week in terms of their attacking, how they exploited those wide areas, as I said earlier. And so, yeah, looking forward to seeing the Army, what they bring, how they approach it, and what their kind of individuals look like as well. We're going to swap sides here. Turn them around.
that's taking advantage of that sun and breeze that you spoke about earlier, I think.
Yeah, it must be. The Army will then be kicking from right to left. The RAF will be getting us underway with Dean Hyam, who does keep his place, the firefighter. Just that one change for the RAF with Josh Randall coming in, number 11. He'll play on the left wing, we believe. Time then to get underway. We're just after 3 o'clock, but it's time for these players to make a mark in this competition. And it's the RAF who do get us underway. I did notice last week against the Royal Navy, the RAF were very comfortable on the ball from a defensive position, happy to knock it about round the back.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll look to play those kind of deep switches, if you like, through their back four, their defensive unit, and then from that they'll look to exploit those wide areas. So they would often kind of do that dish, then it get back into the number 6, and he would then look to kind of exploit those wide spaces and play in behind. So
Laurie Aitchison did have a very good game for the RAF in midfield last week. He'll be looking to do the same. The Army have got possibly half a chance here from a throw-in. I've noticed that the man we mentioned, Owen James, is actually on the right-hand side, number 11. So he's the one to watch. Here he is. It's into James. He's looking to spin. He's gone down. Early shout, but the referee has got the guidance of his linesman, and it will be a free kick to the RAF. There is some height in this attack with James, with Trice, with Moore. Well, Moore is the shorter of the two. Sorry, Trice is the shorter of the three, I'm afraid. Preen will be under it and flicked on towards the new guy, Randall, the newbie in the team today. Here he is, Josh Randall, looking to use that pace on the left-hand side. Something you've already highlighted, those quick wingers trying to get in behind the British Army fullbacks, Callum Hill and Josh Rogerson. It's a smart turn by Preen. Just for a second he thought he might be able to get a shot away. Danny Constable says that's enough of that, let's get rid of it.
Yeah, there's no time to take liberties in those positions, particularly early in the game when it's still pretty frantic yet to settle down. So he's done the right thing there, cleared it up to there's two big guys up top.
We've seen a matching of formations, 4-3-3 it looks like from both teams. But it's quite fluid with the midfield, to be fair. You can get a 5 in there at times.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how the Army approach the RAF when they're playing deep. That last, the free kick that they took earlier, and they stepped right on top of on the back threes, so they're going to look like they're going to press high and trying to influence that area early on. Randall
looking to make a nuisance of himself, but once again the Army managed to come away with a free kick. They're going to look for that height, aren't they? They're going to look for Owen James. A little short, actually, but Hill will come away with it. And looking down the line towards Trice. Aaron Moore, sorry. Rather tense, nervy start to the game here, 3 minutes in. Good flick, that's a very good flick. It's held up well by Moore. Moore looking to spin again, he's gone down, no real complaint this time. Trice. And the Army can recycle it. Constable looked to thread the ball through. It was cut out, now Preen looking to charge down Constable. And that's a little short actually, there might be a chance here for Buick. The goalkeeper Felix Norman had to be quick, and he was. Good turn, very good turn by James. And now, big chance for Trice potentially. Just couldn't quite get it under control. Looking to cut back in on his right foot there.
Yeah, great work from Owen James on the left-hand side here. Big physical presence, held his man up, turned him, and then played a great through ball in for the run of was it Luke Trice.
Seems Luke Trice is playing that number 10 role. He does have 10 on his shirt, but that number 10 role behind the two bigger, powerful strikers. So chance maybe for the RAF with Preen, who's hustled and harried by Moulding, who's making his return to inter-service competition after that horrific leg break last year.
Yeah, big and strong there, really imposed himself there on Luke Preen.
Chance maybe for the RAF. It's a little central to sort of get it into the box, so he needs some sort of training ground routine maybe here. It's going to be Hyam, one of the men over it. It's taken short to Hyam. Wide now for Jordan. Is this the training ground routine I meant? It's not quite gone to plan if it was. Hill lofts it forward and James is after it again. Well defended by Connor Balmont, the RAF captain.
Yeah, taking a bit of risk there, the RAF on that free kick. They left it 2v2 at the back there, but the captain's got across there well and dealt with it.
It had actually gone out of play, I think, there, and the Army have a throw-in gifted to them, really, by the RAF, looking to potentially force it a little bit too much. It was into Joseph Walters, I think, and he spread it wide a little bit too strong. We've got some comments on Facebook. I see the Army Sport Control Board have commented saying, come on the Army, completely unbiased of course. In towards Randall, well cut out by Alfie Moulding. That's that leading by example that you want to see from a captain if you're the British Army. Wide towards Hill, but it's given away. Lofted forward towards Preen. He made a very good run actually. Preen to Buick. Buick was offside and he's looking across the line there. You have to wonder how he's managed to get himself into an offside position.
Yeah, Luke Preen's done great, held it up really nice. It's just the timing of the release for the run was just a little late, and that's seen him offside there on the right-hand side, Logan Buick.
Joe McCormack says, go RAF from Kinross in Scotland. Get Matt Hendry on early. Well, I'm afraid to say Matt Hendry has made way this week for Josh Randall, so he might have a second half cameo, I'm sure. Wide towards Polius, looking to take on his man Brian Polius. It's inside, left-footed shot. Well, with a few Army strikers bearing down, the goalkeeper had to get that right, Oliver Sinclair, and he did.
Yeah, one for Cam Wheat there to be aware of. He's obviously comfortable on his left foot, chopping inside there, so he might have to see him outside.
Polius is one of those players who has inter-service experience. It's his second season with the team, from the player from the Royal Artillery. Here's Moulding. All the way back, and a slightly early touch for Felix Norman. Wide for Hill. And now the danger man Moore, looking to spin. Overlapping full-back, but it's well cut out by Jordan. Henry Jordan, who has played a number of times for the senior RAF team, and he's got Andy Cook, the RAF head coach, watching in the stand. Oh, the Army wanted a handball there. Referee says play on. It's a good ball wide. Just needs one of the midfielders just to get hold of this. That's a good ball for Preen, who's made a smart run again. Luke Preen. Really well defended though. By Josh Rogerson it was.
Yeah, really well tidied up. I was just about to say the RAF haven't really threatened him behind, and then Luke Preen pops up with that great forward run and they find him, but well covered off there by Josh Rogerson.
Preen already seems a little bit more lively than he was last week. Maybe himself has got a point to prove at this level now. Norman is looking for Polius, but that's well cut out by Cameron Wheat, a defender who likes a goal himself. He scored in the President's Cup for the RAF over the Dutch a few years ago. That's a simple header for him as well. And here's Randall, looking for Preen again. He's really looking to stretch the Army defence, and Alfie Moulding has to be careful here. Preen running to the outside, looking for Buick in the box, potentially just in between Buick, and I think it was Liam Palmer coming inside. Goalkeeper had to come there, end to end. Yeah, starting to liven up here.
Yeah, great work from Luke Preen again. He's looking a real threat all of a sudden. He's got around the back there, cross one, sat it up back into the penalty spot, but couldn't find a runner, and then it's gone straight up the other end, pretty direct, and the goalkeeper's had to sweep up. He's done a really good job.
Long throw into the penalty area towards Aaron Moore, but the RAF might be able to break here with Palmer. That's a really good ball. He is onside. The keeper's had to come. He's kind of got there. It's going towards the goal, and actually Alfie Moulding had to stop that from going in. Big first chance for the RAF.
Yeah, the back line was a bit disjointed there. The right outside centre-back's put his hand up, but the captain had dropped in deep behind him, so he was onside, and then the lucky break, really, with the keeper getting out and dealing with it. Felix Norman, the Army keeper, if he comes, he's got to get there, and he's got to take it all. We didn't quite that time out. That's twice we've seen Norman be called to be a bit of a sweeper keeper. It'll be an RAF corner, though, from the right-hand side. I'd imagine out-swinging from Dean Hyam. A few defenders up from the back. Hyam's delivery. And I just looked for a second like Preen would get a free header. He didn't. It was headed away. And now Polius will look to lead the break, and he's quick. You can see the pace from Polius. He's away from one. He's got men looking to give him support in the penalty area. He will. Did all that good work and seemed to put it to waste, and now actually the RAF might look to break. Randall. Wheat had made the run, and he was onside. But yeah, once again onside. The two's there looking right across their left back, Rogerson, and he's put his hand up, but he's looking at the guy, and he's clearly onside. The linesman's kept, the official's kept his flag down. Two teams seemingly wanted to play on the front foot and looking in behind. Yeah, it's been good. It's been an exciting start. What are we, about 11 minutes into it, I suppose, and yeah, and it's been a good start. It's been interesting. There's been threatened behind from both sides, so it's been interesting to see. The scoreboard here at the Military Stadium is actually working. We can see it bang on, which is nice, because it's only been in the last few years that the scoreboard's been up and working again. We were told earlier, so good to see. That's good play from Randall. Back in the team, Randall. Just wasted the opportunity. Seems to be a little bit all left foot potentially. It wasn't quite the strike on the right he wanted. Yeah, and he had Preen on the left hand side of him that was just waiting for that little through ball. I think that might have been his better option, but yeah, safely in the keeper's hands. Gazweet says good luck to the RAF lads watching from Norway, I'm sure. What a finish that is. Oh, he's hit the bar. Yeah. And it's on for more as well. It's over the crossbar. Huge chance, really. Sorry, it was Moore who hit the crossbar, and it was James who sent it flying over. Out of nothing in a way. Yeah, really out of nothing. I was looking elsewhere, and then all of a sudden you got James was through and he's hit the crossbar. Sorry, Moore was through and he's hit the crossbar with that finish. Sorry, I will read Gazweet's comment. He's watching from Norway, and I'm sure no relation to Cameron Wheat, surely. Pretty sure he's his dad. Used to work with him as well, so yeah. Hi, Gaz. Army throw then. There's a multi-ball system going on as well. That will be a free kick. Jordan just clipping out a little bit there. Wasn't needed, really. The RAF seem to have it under control, but maybe the Army can take advantage from a free kick. Now, they did score against the RAF from a similar position a few years ago from here in Aldershot. We saw the clip in our VT earlier. A free kick whipped in from here and a big looping header. So let's see what they can do. It's going to be Luke Trice, number 10, over the ball. Callum Hill also there, potentially as a left-footed option, but it will be Trice towards the back post, and it's headed across the goal and in, and the Army do have the lead. It's Josh Rogerson, big man from the back at the back post, and after 13 minutes the Army have first strike in Aldershot. I think he might have given a free kick, actually. I didn't see a flag go up, but yeah, you are right. The goal has been disallowed. Not quite sure what for. Maybe pushing at the back post? Yeah, it must have been. I didn't see that, like you say, I didn't see the assistant's flags. It must have been something the referee had picked up. Usually you see an assistant's flag go straight up in those situations. We didn't see that, so apologies for the confusion.
Here's Callum Hill, though. The Army will be buoyant from that. They can see a potential route to goal. Well defended by Jordan. Now Buick. Buick looking for Preen again. And Preen's turned really smartly. He just looked at Randall for a second, decided against it, and the RAF will keep going with Wheat on the left-hand side. He's going to do well to make something from this. It wasn't quite the best ball out to him, if I'm really honest.
Yeah, good build-up play there again from Buick. He used Preen. Preen held it up really well, and then they got the switch of play, but didn't really get it in behind for Cam Wheat to run onto, so he got a little bit stuck in there, and then the Army clear.
Jordan looking to make something happen. Really good. Two really good, passionate, strong challenges. It's behind for James. He does have pace. He's big. He's a big man, but you know what? He's got some pace about him as well. Luke James. Owen James. The three of them are all sort of combining together too much now.
Yeah, but I really like Oliver Sinclair in goal. He swept up fantastically against us last week, and he's done the same thing there. So if you're going to try and exploit that space in behind, it's going to have to be really on point and accurate for your runners, because he'll be out, and he's really happy to get out and clear up and take the pressure off for anything that's slightly long.
Trying to see who's down at the moment. I think it might be the number 6, Laurie Aitchison, by elimination. There's a few comments coming in. Owen Ison says, good luck, Hill, from all of us at 29 Regiment. I'm assuming that's towards Callum Hill, the left back for the British Army. Rachel McHamilton Howes says, good luck to the RAF from all of the RAF women's team watching from RAF Cosford. I do believe the RAF women's team are in action later, so that's good pre-match build-up for them, this.
Yeah, and this is what's really fantastic about live streaming these games. It really opens it up now to obviously not just people in the stadium and the local kind of populations, but families and friends and loved ones across, all over wherever you're streaming across the world, really. So it's a real welcome, I think, from all the players.
Throwing into James again. That seems to be a staple of this attack from the the throw-ins, if you want to consider them set pieces. Some do. Constable over the top, good ball. Charged down well by Aitchison, I think.
Yeah, Polius looks like he's got both feet there, doesn't he? So it might be a real tricky afternoon there for the left-hand side Cam Wheat to know how to deal with him, what way to send him, because he looks really competent on both feet.
Here it comes again, loaded up. Aaron Moore's looking for the long throw. He's going to be looking for number 11, Owen James, you would think. It is towards James. It's over his head, actually. It's headed back. Polius might be able to make something from it. And it was Asim Ali who had the shot. Charged down well.
Yeah, but they got real threat, the Army, on the set pieces. Obviously not that time for the throw-in, but for the goal that was disallowed, that free kick, they got all the big men up at the back post there, and they had real presence, and obviously it was disallowed, but you can see that's going to be one of the real threats. The RAF are going to have to be careful not to give anything cheap away around the edge of their box.
Do you think Danny Bartley in the RAF box RAF bench will be making that point, no silly fouls, because you've been warned now, really? Yeah,
absolutely. And you saw it, when they were lined up, the size of a few of the guys on the Army side.
James managed to spin and get the pass away. A really good opportunity, actually, to try and find Aaron Moore. Got away from him. The goalkeeper swept it up really well. They're going
to have a press here, the Army. Yeah,
very
it's a great job.
It might lead to something. Hill's touch, though. Very disappointed with himself, Callum Hill, there, because he knew there was an opportunity.
Yeah, they'd done the hard bit, won the ball, got the breakdown, but he's just bounced away from him with his first touch.
Preen. Started well, Preen.
Great from him again, yeah, really good.
Good ball towards Randall. Defended well by Danny Constable. There's spacing behind both defences at the moment, and there's a goal there to get, I think.
Yeah, there's definitely space, and it's just that little bit of quality, and that, if you want to call it the final third or whatever, and that's the key. Our job as coaches really is to try and get the guys into those areas, and then give them the freedom to go and express themselves and show their creativity in those spaces, and try and exploit those spaces. So both teams are doing well getting into those areas, but the final piece has not really come around yet. But it's early days yet. 20 minutes in, 19 minutes in.
It'll be Josh Rogerson to take the throw, the man who must be feeling quite a little bit disappointed at the moment. He thought he'd put his team in front, he hadn't. And now the RAF might be able to come away with it. Preen again, putting himself about. Ali gets it up in the air. A little bit of head tennis, but Polius might be able to get control of it. He doesn't. Actually, a stumble that allows the RAF potentially to break, but really good play to get back from Polius.
Yeah, brilliant recovery from him. Couldn't get it under, and then but reacted brilliantly, and that's what we'll ask all the players. You know, don't worry about the mistake if it happens. It's how you react and make sure you tidy it up, and he's done a fantastic job there.
That is what I'm sure the Army bench would have liked to have seen, the hard-working Polius getting back. Now, Wheat with the throw. Preen might be able to make something of that. Moulding is tight onto his back. Preen looking for Hyam. The RAF might be able to recycle it, but look at the Army press. Really well done,
really
though,
nicely done
from Aitchison.
Yeah.
His pass wasn't what was needed, and Ali's looked over the top, and he might be onside here. The flag's gone up. You've nodded your head. You had a better view of it than I have.
Yeah,
so
offside. Yeah, definitely.
Joe Hara says, "Come on, Alfie Moulding." It was a really, really inspiring story in a lot of ways. It was quite a sad injury that he suffered, is probably the best way to say it, against you guys last year, and to see him back playing inter-services football, leading the Army.
Yeah, because of course he missed the second game down at the RAF, down at Rayners Lane, so you never want to miss. They're such rare things, inter-service games, aren't they? So you don't want to miss any. It was a challenge that caught him, and yeah, a real shame for him, but good to see him back.
Aitchison seems to have an issue with his arm here, and he's currently off the field, so the RAF are down to 10. I think they wanted to get him back on, but in fact we will be playing on. Referee saying let's get on with it. It's up towards Preen, and Randall were underneath it, well headed away from Polius, but here is Preen.
Yeah, Polius could have done with a shout there. We're better off just leaving that go out for the throw, and he's headed it back in, and the RAF have picked up.
Oh, the little deflection, and now it got away from Wheat, but unfortunately the chance kind of disappeared from the Army there, and they've not made the most of it, it feels like, but maybe they can now. Polius. Chance on the right hand side, well defended by Wheat again, who's over the 2 games actually, or a game and 20 minutes, has impressed for the RAF at left back. I'm sure with his previous RAF performances at this level, he will be catching the eye of the senior team.
Yeah, I remember him from last year as well. Really tenacious, gets up and down that side really well. Really a fit young lad to do that piece of work that they asked him to do. Great play from Buick, and Preen might be away. Buick wants it back actually. Preen's found him. Oh, really good defending, but it might fall for Randall. Randall inside onto the right foot, and he's blazed it over. That's a huge chance. Huge chance for Josh Randall. Wow, fantastic piece of football in all, and then really finished off with great feet from Randall. You can see why they've parachuted him straight back into the starting 11 here. He really great feet there, but just couldn't quite pick the net with his shot.
From that sort of distance in these sort of games, it could prove vital.
That's better from the RAF. We talked about that through ball and the timing of the run, and Preen again giving the Army backline real problems in behind, and then a really good ball across the box.
Well, we've spoken about Preen's performance so far, and he is impressive, but that felt like sort of 23 minutes in, the first time we really saw Logan Buick get on the ball and manage to make something happen. Here's Polius looking to do the same for the Army, but he can't. He's spun into trouble, and there was a slip as well. And Palmer, he's going all the way actually. He's running out of room.
Yeah, good support.
Does find Jordan, the right back, coming forward. That's a smart turn by Buick, and the shot from range from Hyam.
I think I'll be disappointed with that. That was a really good football again. Who do we have? Palmer coming across, doing really well, recycling the ball in for Jordan, who did really well, and then they got the switch on, and I think a bit more patience in that area, and they might have created a more clean and clear-cut chance.
It's a bit of a push in the back there on James, 2 hands in the back, but referee says play on, and the Army might make something of this. Jordan can get away for the RAF. there were big sort of cheers and applause from some of the RAF bench there after that move, because there's a lot of the build-up plays coming together. It's just not got that finish at the moment.
Yeah, they're playing in good areas now. They're getting to that final third and probing. It's just going to have to be that final decision on whether to take the shot or retain the ball and try something else, and keep moving the Army to find those spaces and those openings that they can then exploit. I don't think shots from what was he, about 25 yards out is going to be the way to goal today necessarily.
Not against a goalkeeper like Felix Norman, who's a regular for the regimental and the core team, so he's got some playing experience in the Army. He's not going to be beaten too easily. Hopefully I haven't cursed him there. It will be an Army free kick though, and a chance maybe from the set piece. Left-footed in swinging, and hefty challenge at the back post. It was looking towards Rogerson again, but the RAF have dealt with it really well. And now Logan Buick has got Rogerson scarpering after him, but Buick looks for Preen. Well defended by Moulding.
Yeah, interesting. He didn't send Alfie Moulding up for that free kick. Left him in there with Preen, and it's paid dividends. He's come there and extinguished their.
It's a real key battle, isn't it, today, Preen versus Moulding? Yeah, and at the moment, it's quite even, actually. That'll be an RAF free kick. A little bit too much passion there from Luke Trice. The RAF have played quickly, but it may be the downfall for them, because Polius has got pace to come forward, and that's a ball in behind.
Again.
Aaron Moore is offside, and there's a big groan from the crowd who were not happy.
Yeah, I think a bit of local dismay there, but certainly where I was viewing it, it looked like it was offside.
Well, we are 26 minutes into the game. It's still 0-0. We're still waiting our first goal of the 2023 Under-23 Inter-Services Championships. So big chances will need to be taken, because it seems like it's going to be a championship of few but very important moments.
Yeah, once again, no real direct.
Maybe a chance here, though, actually. He gets the shot off. It's deflected. It's hit the post. It's bounced back. And the RAF do clear it away. It was Aaron Moore with the shot. And that'll be a free kick right on the edge as well. A bit of a push in the back for Moore, and the Army are just starting to assert some dominance here.
Yeah, I think a bit of frustration from the RAF there. That bounced back not off the post but off the wheel on the side of the goal there, and then the Army have kept it alive and now got a free kick out of it. So, yeah, not sure about that decision there.
A bit of controversy potentially. Those wheels on the side of the goal, for anyone wondering, are there to obviously transport the goals wherever they need to get to, but not something you see all the time.
Yeah, played as a nice 12th man bounce pass there for the Army on that occasion.
It'll be Hyam with the right foot, or it will be Callum Hill on the left foot. It kind of suits Hyam's right foot, you would think. The sun will be right in Oliver Sinclair's eyes, the RF goalkeeper. It's the left foot, it's charged down by the wall, and it will be a corner. We know the Army are dangerous from their set pieces with the height difference they seem to have over the RAF. They've shown that already.
Yeah, they'll ship all the big boys in for this one now, and as we said earlier, they're a real threat from these moments. If they can get their delivery right and into good areas for these boys to attack, they've got a real presence in these moments.
Alfie Moulding is up. Danny Constable is up. It's Hills in swinging, left-footed corner. It's really disappointing. He was disappointed with it as well, but Constable might be able to keep it alive. He can't, and now the RAF potentially look to break. Arnie with an important interception for the Army, but it didn't quite work out. And now Randall looking to spin. There was a man over. It was Logan Buick. Randall had his back to him, so couldn't see him, but...
Yeah, they had the 3-2 overload there, and Randall hasn't taken advantage of it, and the Army have dealt with that counter-attack. But not the greatest delivery on the corner, and that's exactly what we're talking about. They're going to have to get that right to take advantage of what is a clear advantage for them in terms of physicality and height for the Army.
The Army get us under, or the Army will get us underway. Take two. Constable will be looking long, you would think. Hill's got a lot of space on the left-hand side. Constable looks towards James. It's over the... Oh, it's important. It's really important that Aitchison got something on that there.
Yeah, he had Owen James in behind him, didn't he? So that little touch is just taking it onto the goalkeeper and stopped James getting on the end of that.
Oliver Sinclair's second into services, the RAF goalkeeper. He has trained with the senior team. Don't think he's quite played for Andy Cook's team yet, but that may not be far away. It's tougher for the goalkeepers to sort of break through into a senior team. Obviously, only one shirt available. Yeah,
absolutely. And if you've got someone in there who's a regular, you know, he's been there for years and he's doing his job, then you generally, as a manager, look for that consistency in that area. You don't want to mix that up too much. So, yeah, you've got to be a real player to come in and knock somebody out of an established area.
Big RAF cheers as Buick got back. And now it's into Preen, who's starting to stretch the army once again. Moulding has got a job on with Luke Preen today, who looks very, very up for this. Harley should clear away for the army, and he's found James. Smart pass. It's a little bit scrappy. These games tend to be, because you've got two teams who are
highly invested.
Invested is the right word, yes. It's into James, who's certainly invested in potentially a goal-scoring opportunity here. James gets the shot away to Wheat, though, on the left foot.
Yeah, didn't really get hold of it, did he? He was kind of off balance, leaning back, and he just tried to get something on it, but that didn't generate any power. Oh, what a pass.
That'll fall for Buick, who can look to run his man. He hasn't really got the beating of the Army defence so far, Buick. Only that one real opportunity.
No, they haven't exploited those spaces as they did early on against us, and they got some real good moments from that into those kind of wide channels, if you like. And they haven't been able to do that against this Army team, maybe a bit deeper in there with their back four, and perhaps they've seen that as a threat and decided to deal with it that way.
Bit of head tennis as we get underway. Rogerson saying, "No, I've had enough of that." Absolutely not. And here's Norman for the RAF. Preen's automatically looking to run the line. He actually came short as I said that, and a bit of miscommunication.
Yeah, and I think Henry Jordan had the same thinking as you, and then misses the pass into Preen.
Here's Polius. He'll look for the line towards James. Both teams at the moment just not quite getting control of it. It's a really good play from Marley, actually, the defensive midfielder, getting forward. Hassi Marley, it's his first season with the team, so first into services. And 30 minutes in, I'll say this, I'm quietly impressed with the defensive midfielder, the number 4 for the Army. Get about his business.
Yeah, absolutely. He's had a good start. Nothing too flash in his play, but just going about his business in a really efficient way.
The ball just sort of bouncing around between the two teams. It's gone long, though, and actually there's a wrestling match going on, and they've turned it nicely, and a chance maybe for James. The flag stayed down, and Owen James this time has scored and put the Army in front.
Well, yeah, a real kind of unusual one. They couldn't really deal with it, the RAF. The kind of high looping ball, bit of physicality from James.
Yeah, it was James and Moore, the two big, strong forwards that were causing the problems.
And then, good support from Moore, who takes a really good finish.
Connor Balman's not happy, by the way. He's complaining to the referee, the RAF captain, about the wrestling match that seemed to go on with Moore. But the goal stands, the Army lead. And the RAF have got a big job on now, because they need to win this. If the RAF don't win this, they're not going to win the championship.
Yeah, it's finished for them. They need the 3 points out of this, so they're going to have to really go for it now.
Luke Preen and Logan Buick just sort of relaying the message, just calm down. It's still an hour to go. We can get back into this, and that's important, but they're going to have to change tactic a little now.
Yeah, well, they've got plenty of time. Like you say, they've had moments, they've created half chances, if you like, but nothing really clean cut. So no need to panic. No need to panic just yet. They'll have to continue to play their game and see what they can create.
You'd have to say, out the two teams, the Army probably do deserve the lead. Maybe a chance through here. Moore knew he was offside, but the Army probably do. They've hit the bar. They've had the goal disallowed, and now the goal. You can't argue with the fact that they lead.
They've had the better chances, haven't they, in that first half an hour, 33 minutes. So they'll be pleased to have taken something out of that, because they've created good moments.
Well, we're getting into that danger zone in the first half now for the Army, who lead. They will not want to be conceded in the final 10 minutes here. The RAF will need to try and reply. Norman winning it well against Moore. Considering the height difference between Norman and Moore, he did very well there, the RAF right back.
Yeah, I was really impressed with him last week. I've been impressed with him again. He plays really nice football, plays with good disguise. He's accurate with his passing. His decisions are really, really good. He's a good young player.
He's a player I'm sure we will be seeing in a month's time as well for the senior men's inter-services for the RAF. Here's Ali into McGinley. McGinley looking for Hill, and more work to do for Henry Norman.
So the Army will be keen now to take advantage of the obvious flow of the game. Now they're on top, they'll be feeling psychologically really, really on it. So it would be important for them to try and take advantage of this. Certainly not give anything away, like you said, but can they now create another opportunity and try and double their lead?
Great ball wide by the captain to Polius.
Yeah, great control on his chest.
Polius' ball is really good, and Trice has got... he's got more with him, he can find him. He's got James as well. Hill was also in there, but
Jordan again,
the wrong decision, it felt like.
Good.
Be an Army corner though, and they've already shown that they can be dangerous from these set pieces. You'd expect it to be Hill, it'll be in swinging. There's men coming forward. Rogerson is there again. We're going to see Moulding come forward. Real important moment in the championship for the RAF right now. Do not concede a second.
Yeah, in fact, Moulding stayed back for this one on this occasion. So
sorry, it was Constable that's come forward.
His way up, yeah.
Hill whips it in, headed away really well at the near post. It's not a bad delivery actually from Hill, but the run to the near post wasn't quite there. There's a switch of play on maybe for Logan Buick. Well, the RAF might be able to make something of that. Not quite working out they wanted, but Buick keeps it in.
So not really much in front of him there. He's got three guys all standing on the back line. Nobody coming in to kind of link up the play for him. So we've run out of ideas and space, and then it ends up as a throw-in. A
little bit of frustration from the RAF. We did see that last week against your team. It's particularly once the red card happened. There's a lot of frustration that the RAF couldn't quite break the Navy down. We are seeing a bit of a repeat potentially so far. That should go for a goal kick. So let's discuss that moment in the goal, the little bit of a wrestling match. The RAF captain clearly believes that a foul should have been given. What's your feelings?
Well, I think the referee's seen that as a 50-50. There's a bit of it going on from both players. Neither player really had control of the ball at any time until that final little touch for the set for the finish. So I suspect he's just gone. It's a 50-50. You know, we're gonna allow a little bit of physicality in the game, which I don't think anybody really minds. As long as they're not hanging off shirts or pulling arms over and stuff like that, and pulling players over, then you should be able to fight for those kind of 50-50 moments.
Yeah, I completely agree. It looked 50-50 to me. We've got the goal, so now the RAF have to answer it. The Army are already starting the time wasting.
Yeah, just slowing things down a little bit, aren't they? So
I mean, is there even a player coming across set? Yeah, there is. Danny Consoy.
Yeah, he's got there eventually.
They'll be kicking off next week by the time we get going. Constable does take the throw in towards James, looking for Polius. Randall's back there, really smartly done by Randall. And Preen looking to hold it up. He wins a free kick. Great centre forward play.
Referee wasn't taking it from the spot, has he? So he's just going to pull him back for that. But a good idea to try and take that advantage. Yeah, but the refs are going to always.
To be fair to the referee, I think when he did try and take it quickly, it was a moving ball as well. So he may have pulled it back. But really good play up front from Luke Preen.
Excellent again from him. Really strong against a massive physical presence there. Did well, kept the ball, and then draws the foul. So he's going to have to keep doing that for another hour or so to try and help his team get out the pitch. Great turn.
Yeah, really great turn in the midfield. Jordan can play it on to Buick now and make another forward run. Buick looked to find him, but the Scot decides to come inside as well. Here's Palmer looking wide. Cameron Wheat cut out well.
2v1 back there. They're really taking risks in those areas.
I mean, talk about taking risks. That's really risky from the RAF goalkeeper, and he's headed on, and James is coming in there as well, and somehow, I mean, he's got away with one there, Oliver Sinclair. Let's make no bones about it.
Yeah, I think I might have put the the commentators Kurt on him earlier saying he cleans everything up, but he's not great with his head, is he, bless him? So he's really given them a moment there. But I think in the first instance, the RAF have left it 2v1, so that's a real risk. If they're going to lose the ball in those areas, the Army are always going to counter, be direct in those moments, and they almost take advantage there.
Army corner then, it will be Luke Trice over it. It'll be in swinging, right-footed. Men at the back post again. Rogerson is the man who could be a danger. Trice whips it in. It's looking for Rogerson. It's right underneath the post. The keeper did well.
He's done brilliantly. It's right on top of him under the post. Not any real pressure on him from the Army, so he's managed to parry it away.
A big, thunderous rebound, and it will be a goal kick. We mentioned earlier that potentially, for the Royal Navy point of view, the worst scoreline would be a heavy RAF win. What about a heavy Army win?
Well, if we beat the Army, that's fine, isn't it? So that's ultimately our goal. We've got to go into that final game looking to beat the Army, and if we do that, particularly if the Army win this game, then we win the tournament. Like you say, a heavy RAF win gives us a problem in terms of we'd have to improve on that,
so to speak. Yeah.
So, you know, a draw or an Army win here is certainly our preference.
Well, at the moment, the Army are winning by a goal to nil. They're good for it as well. They've looked the better of the two teams in the first 40 minutes. They're coming forward again here. It's towards Trice, well headed away. Ali underneath it as well. Just takes it for Hill, who's going to get a shot away, and why not?
Yeah, nice technique. Couldn't quite keep it down, but it struck the ball really cleanly.
The Army are started to pepper some shots in on Oliver Sinclair's goal, who's starting to be called upon a little bit more than his opposite number.
Yeah, players shifted. There's been a bit of a shift, hasn't there, in favour of the Army since the goal, which you'd expect. It's whether the RAF can see this out, get to half-time without any further damage, and then regroup and go again second half with the wind and the sun behind them.
Just for a second, I thought Aitchison got suckered in. The referee said play on, actually, so James can go and bring it forward for the Army. I don't think he was expecting play on at that point.
Yeah, it looked like a tangle, didn't it, from this distance? But obviously the referees hasn't seen that, hasn't seen it as a tangle, and let play go on.
We spoke about Josh Randall coming in. He has impressed, but gone out of the play a little bit in the last 5 minutes. The RAF haven't managed to get him on the ball. Big part of why the Army are starting to dominate proceedings. It's going to be.
Yeah, they certainly are dominating this last 10 minutes, aren't they? And those outlets, in terms of him and Buick, they haven't really been able to exploit. I think Preen's done a good job up there to hold it up, but then it's what after that? You know, if he's facing his own goal, you're going to have that threat in behind.
Long throw in. There's a chance maybe he's hit the crossbar, but the referee had already whistled. It was a push by, I believe it was Aaron Moore. Yeah. The Army are waiting for half-time, it feels, because that throw-in took a while to get going.
Yeah. But all these moments where our pressure, it's a free kick, but it's a header in the box that's hit the bar for the Army, so it's all pressure on top of the RAF.
They're aggressive is probably the best way to say it, the Army.
And in the back there.
Hill over the top. The referee says play on, no push in the back apparently. That's a really good switch of play, potentially had to be cut out by Aitchison, who did well on the stretch. He might have just hurt himself on that stretch as well. He grabbed the back of his leg. Walking a little bit gingerly.
Yeah, he is. Hopefully he can run that off.
Good win. Great header. Won't fall for anything though. It was a really important interception from Aitchison. I understand why he did it, but it's one of those stretches that can always be dangerous in these sort of colder conditions. I know it looks hot out there, but I will stress it is February.
Yeah, he's done well, and it's resulting in a kind of clearance up to Cam Wheat again, who heads it on. He's really good in those moments. He's a good outlet and a good aerial presence out there. There's like a high fullback, if you like, and then he'll continue play with that little flick on. It's whether the RAF can then pick up that second ball from him.
Really interesting clash of styles here. That free kick there you just saw, the RAF decided to go short. That would have gone straight into the back post if it was a British Army free kick. 100%. So.
Yeah, 100%.
Clearly, Danny Bartley wants to play it on the floor. At the moment, he hasn't had the success here in Aldershot that he'll have wanted. The Army have certainly got the better of the Air Force so far, but maybe now they can break forward. Logan Buick. Lack of options going forward, maybe. Polius, who thought he could get there, and actually with his pace he will get there. As you said, two-footed Polius. Here's Ali, looking towards the number 9, and well defended by Norman once again.
Yeah, Henry Jordan again. He's just his knowledge of the game, his understanding, his awareness. He's always finds himself in good areas to be able to deal with those marginal moments, if you like.
Paul Corrie says, a great first half by the Army, plenty of pressure from the lads with a well-deserved 1-0 up at half-time. Well, not quite, Paul. Not quite. We're not quite there yet. But I will agree that the Army have had a great first half here, but we are into the just about the 45th minute. We're not sure if there's any added time. The RAF are running out of time if they're going to get back into this in the first half. The kick from the keeper is...
Yeah, I see it holding up in the window. That might be an advantage there.
Good flick. Sorry, James. I just couldn't get it right. The Army get a second goal right on the stroke of half-time. It's big curtains for the RAF, you think. Ali looking to find James, who potentially could have done better there himself. Hill, Ali again. There might just be one last chance for the Army here. 1 minute of added time. Up in the air, and that's not where the RAF want it, with the height difference for the Army. They've done well though, actually. Yeah. And now Boldman can clear. Yeah,
they're just struggling to get out of their kind of half at the moment, aren't they? Everything's coming straight back to them.
That will do, though. Palmer does well.
And again, it's the Army getting in the way, close the attack down, and they're off again.
McGinley gets the 1-2, maybe. Really strong tackle, but the referee says play on, and he's in towards the number 9, Aaron Moore. Once again, really great defending from Henry Jordan. And that is the final act of the first half. And it's a first half where the Army will be very, very pleased. Their first half of football in this championship, and they are 1-0 up. Could have been 2, it was disallowed. They've hit the bar. The Air Force really, really needs something. And if they don't, well, they can kiss the Inter-Services Trophy goodbye, I'm afraid. We will be back with the second half very shortly. We've got some great content coming at half-time for you. So let's see what's happening around the Forces sporting world. I'm Kyle Dixon, and this is In Case You Missed It. Royal Marine Taylor Lawrence is setting high standards this season, so high he says the team was slightly disappointed with their silver medal at the Bobsleigh World Championships. After taking the European title, the GB 4-man team were favourites in St Moritz, where they finished joint second with Latvia behind winners Germany. They are the first British team to win a medal at the competition since 1939, and there's a full interview with Taylor Lawrence coming up. The Army Rugby Union Women's Sevens team have a new head coach. Warrant Officer Class 1 Paul Willison takes on the team as his first job in the Army Rugby setup. The Army Women's Sevens team have been growing in recent years and won the Aldershot Sevens Bowl on Armed Forces Day in June. Wholesale changes didn't knock the men's Army Rugby Union development side out of their stride. Head coach Lieutenant Colonel Tim Osman fielded an entirely different starting 15 for the game against Blackheath. But the changes worked, with the Army winning by 33 points to 21. Leeds Rhinos women's team have been put through their paces by the Parachute Regiment. The players got a taste of Army fitness training with members of Pegasus Company at Catterick. Their pre-season team building included a simulated casualty evacuation, complete with pyrotechnics.
If you told us at the beginning of the season, would you be happy enough with the silver medal at the World Champs? We would have absolutely bitten your hand off for it. Obviously, we lost Nick, at number one brakeman, to piloting, so we had Aaron. So we were hoping really just to get him up to speed by Christmas, but I mean, yeah, he blew all expectations out of the water as soon as we had that result in Worcester, and yeah, we've just gone on leaps and bounds this whole season, and to come away with a silver medal at the World Champs. It's been hard to put it into words, but yeah, I mean, it's just we've been showing the last few years what we've got, chipping away, and this really is the fruits of our labour this season.
The 70, come on, boy! Let's go, come on! Go on, boys!
We're disappointed with a silver medal. That's crazy, but it just shows the depth and the strength that we have in the team and where we've gone from and where we are now. And we are just getting better and better. And I mean, that World Champs is obviously over 4 heats over 2 days, so 2 heats on the Saturday, 2 heats on the Sunday, and it's going to be the team that pushes the most consistent and drives the most consistent that's going to win. Brad had 3 absolutely phenomenal drives, and that the last one, there was a few mistakes here and there, and it just ran away from us a little bit. But I mean, to be that close to someone from a nation that doesn't really do winter sports against the powerhouse of Germany, I mean, we can walk away with our heads held high. I mean, a silver medal against probably the best person in Bosse history, and you can't really be too upset with that at all. It's been absolutely amazing, the support we've got, not just from friends, family, the Navy, the Marines, but I mean everyone, the whole nation really is getting behind, not just bobsleigh in general, but I mean sliding sports, and I mean the skeleton guys have been doing really, really well as well. Obviously Matt Weston come away with his World Champs. He's a world champion. All the other guys and girls have really had the showcase of what GB can do as a winter sport nation.
We've created an unbelievable setup here, and it's in a great place. There's some really exciting fixtures this year, with the Irish Defence Force in June, German Bundeswehr in October, and with the Kentish Cup over in France towards the end of the year. So, as I said to the boys this morning, nothing changes. The objective is still the same, to go and win back the Kentish Cup. I'm just one cog in the wheel. Someone else will come in and do a really fantastic job moving forward. So, I will miss it, but time's to move on. A real high for me was Arnhem, when we went there and beat the Dutch 2-0 and managed to beat the French 1-0 in a crunch game, and the elation that you get from winning a Kentish Cup. If we said to the boys the other day and the staff, and if you could bottle that up and sell it, people will pay thousands for it, because it's such an amazing feeling. Beating the Irish in Dublin last year, last minute winner, especially with what happened at Havant last minute and lost on penalties the year before. I mean, that was just unreal, really. And then obviously really disappointed not to win the Kentish Cup this year. Again, we did everything we can, but probably looking back, I reflected on the decision I made and probably would have changed 1 or 2 things, but we never lost, and that's one good thing. Anyone to have the opportunity to be involved in this kind of setup, there's never any lows. Obviously you don't like losing, but we haven't lost many, but there's been more highs than lows, and it's I can look back with fond memories, and I'm proud of everyone that's been involved. I've been really fortunate to represent the Air Force as a footballer, inter-services, combined services back in the day, and Kentish Cups, and then I've been really sort of lucky to be involved from this capacity, based on going and doing my coaching qualifications. But the Air Force changed my life. If I got the same opportunity again, I would do exactly the same again. I joined the Air Force as a 20-year-old, and I would, probably take more than what I have in this 22 years. But yeah, I'll miss both. And if it wasn't for the Air Force, I wouldn't have this opportunity. So grateful for both, really.
Army boxing has enjoyed high-profile achievements over recent years, with the best boxers from the ranks heading to the base of British boxing in Sheffield. It was the route taken by Caris Artingstall, culminating in her Olympic medal-winning success, before leaving the Army and turning professional. Now, GB Boxing are tapping into the talented pool of Army coaches. A 12-month coach development programme established by GB Boxing will see Army staff working with the top fighters at their home in Yorkshire. Alana Nihel is a two-time Commonwealth Games veteran, claiming bronze at the Glasgow Games in 2014. The corporal sees this as an opportunity to feature in the corner for future GB fighters at the highest level.
I won't lie, my end goal is to become a full-time coach of GB boxing down the line. You know, you have to work your way up in the ranks in the Army. You got to work your way up in the ranks in the boxing world too. You know, so the fact that, you know, we've got this opportunity now to go and do this and work up with the best in the country. It's really exciting because the end goal for me is to get there and obviously get to the Olympics and coach you in the Olympics. How amazing would that be?
With a wealth of experience inside and out of the ring, this is a chance to further her coaching career.
As a female, there's not many women about with the amount of experience I have, you know, and that'll always stand by. So I'm excited because I want to give back. I've been there and done it as a boxer, and the fact now I'm a coach, you know, I have that respect because people know what I've done.
Former English ABA champion James Allen has been coaching with the Army squad for the past 8 years. The sergeant says it's great to oversee some of the best in the country and hopes his involvement will help Forces fighters find their way onto the national setup.
Some of the boxers on the programme up there, the international medalists, you know, the national champions that we've come up to and lost against in the last couple of years, so it's working with these and taking stuff away and trying to add a bit of value to the programme as well.
There's already a nice connection between the Army and GB Boxing. Would you like to help perhaps some of your own Army athletes move forward and get onto that GB cycle?
Yeah, like you say, obviously the aim always is to get our boxers as far as they can, whether it's a national title, whether it's just winning a UCAF title, but all those that have got ambitions of going further, I'd like to think that this link now, learning from the experience up there and obviously give them a little bit of an incentive to push on and go a bit further.
The Army have benefited with their British boxing connections. Ben Stewart is a GB boxing performance coach. The Army have employed him as their team performance manager and technical lead coach for the past 5 years. According to Corporal Kerry-Ann Keane, this latest initiative between the Army and GB is a chance for military coaches to make a meaningful contribution with the national elite.
Absolutely, I think you find with soldiers, they're dedicated, they're disciplined. You know, we've got a lot of attributes that are really good ticks in the boxes. So yeah, I'm excited to be up there.
The coaching programme with Great Britain will run until 2024. During that time, Army coaches will hope to steer their boxers to national boxing championships and into services success.
Get that head moving, get that head moving.
It's quick, it's exciting. You're always on your toes, you never know what to expect. Expect the unexpected.
I don't think anyone realises how fast and furious it is. It's a relentless game, there's nothing else like it.
Sharp, snappy, fast-paced, accurate, skillful, lots of tactics. It deserves to be there for all to see.
Well, Well, that looks a bit good, doesn't it? That's right, the Inter-Services Netball Championships live for the very first time next month. We are so excited to bring you 3 games over 3 days from RAF Cosford. It's going to be something you've never quite seen on our screens before. I mean, we let the players explain it best, but it is going to be an exciting game, an exciting few days, so do not miss it. And it's the first of a lot of new sports potentially being streamed this year. So BFBS Sport are bringing you the best of the live military sporting coverage, and we've seen that in the first half here. The Army are leading by a goal to nil. The RAF have got a job to do. If they don't get back into this, if they don't win the game, their title challenge is over, and it's a winner-takes-all Navy v Army battle next week. It's a bit weird to say Navy v Army, I'll be honest, because of all the usual promotion of Army-Navy.
Yeah, we're home, so we'll go with Navy-Army.
So the RAF... we do have a replay of the goal, actually, so we'll run that for you now. And it's quite interesting, because we were just speaking about this while the VTs were going on. There are claims here that it could have been offside in the build-up. We can't quite see it from where we are, even the replay, I'm afraid, so we can't talk over the pictures, but you'll be able to make your minds up at the moment. And we think that's what the RAF were complaining for, the offside rather than the pushing and the wrestling.
Yeah, we thought it was the pushing and the wrestling, but yeah, I've had a couple of messages saying it looked like it was offside. So one of those moments, unfortunate for the RAF, but they'll have to dust themselves down and go again second half.
But to even it out, I will say, we've also had a look at the replay at half-time of the goal that was disallowed, and that looked harsh. So they do even themselves out. Players are on their way. The Army out first, as you'd expect. Buoyant, confident. The Army are 1-0 up, and deservedly so. The RAF seemingly need a few more moments in the changing room for the head coach to whip them into shape, so to speak. You'd have thought he'd sent them out ready to go earlier.
Yeah, I suspect he'll be talking about the kind of the problems that they've had that first half, and providing them some solutions to kind of help them exploit that spacing behind the Army. We spoke about it early in the half. They had some moments, but then really the second period of the half, the Army dominated and really stifled any attacks that the RAF managed to put together. So no doubt Danny will be speaking to them about that, giving them some solutions, I suspect, some ideas on how they can improve and go and get that all-important, well, 2 goals really that they need.
I mean, look, without sounding cliche, the next goal is hugely important, because the RAF could quite easily throw everything at getting into this game and getting into a winning position, but they do have to be very careful. We saw it once or twice at the end of the second half that the Army had a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1, and the RAF were left open at the back, and the Army will punish them.
Yeah, that's right. They're prepared to take risk, the RAF, in terms of numbers forward, but then when you do that, you have to be really careful with the ball, really look after it. Make sure you don't lose it in the middle of the pitch, which they did on a couple of occasions, and that's when you saw the Army really threatening those overloads, and took advantage of the one that resulted in the goal. Well,
we can see the sky blue shirts of the RAF on their way to the fields. The Army have been made to wait a little bit. Now the RAF are ready to get going again. The sun here at Aldershot is starting to fade as we are getting towards this still winter afternoon. But the sun is still shining, 4 o'clock, so we'll take that, we'll take it.
Yeah, it's been fantastic conditions both weeks, last week and this, for football, so no complaints in terms of the pitch. Looks in really good condition, not too heavy, hasn't had too much rain on it over the last couple of weeks, so a bit of a bobble, but you're always going to get that on grass pitches.
I mean, us in our commentary position, we are actually inside in the stadium in a little room, so we're completely under covers, which is good. Yeah. Unlike a live stream we did at the end of last year for the Rugby Union under-23s, where poor Kath Fraser was stuck in the rain all night.
Yeah, it's a great facility, so happy to be here.
Okay, here we go, ready to kick off then. The Army in pole position, so to speak. The win will, of course, take them... Well, let's imagine an inter-services table, because I'm not sure we ever see a table, but the win would put them top of the table, 3 points. The Navy on a point. The RAF would be bottom at this point on a point.
Yeah, exactly right. yeah, with 3 games, there's not really much point in having a table, is there? No. So we all know what we need to do. Don't lose your first game, be in it for the second, which the RAF managed against us, but now they need to react to that first half and get something out of this.
And for anyone wondering what happens if it's all devil after the end of 3 games, I did ask Chris, who of course is the Navy under-23s head coach. He doesn't know himself at the moment, so we'll try and figure that out if we need to. We are underway, and the RAF kick in from right to left now, and they will have to try and get past Felix Norman in the British Army goal. A clean sheet for Norman will be a win for the Army, and Inter-Services title decider next week. Luke Preen, Logan Buick, Josh Randall, Liam Palmer, RAF players who will have something to say about that, I'm sure. You spoke to me about at half-time about Preen getting the Army captain, Alfie Moulding, turned a little bit more, and maybe the pace of Buick coming inside might be an option.
Yeah, I think what you've just seen there with that longer, more direct ball, you'll see a bit more of from the RAF. I think they'll try and get them turned more. The wind is now at their backs. I do think that affected that their ability to do that, and I think you'll see more of a press from them as well.
They'll be looking to get Randall on the ball a lot more. I'm sure of that. It was a smart turn by James, but in the end the RAF do clear it up, kind of. He was played into a big amount of trouble there, was Henry Jordan.
Yeah, just a bit of a loose pass there from Buick, and yeah, they managed to get the throw-in out of it. Just need to tidy up those little moments, those little technical moments. They haven't really been able to get too many passing kind of patterns or too many passing phases together to then create that moment in behind. So the RAF will be looking to improve in that area.
Well, the RAF do have a few players in the team who have trophy experience, it should be said. A few of them have won the RAF Cup with RAF Cosford. I'm talking Joseph Walters, I'm talking Liam Palmer. So there is trophy winners in a way in the service side of the game, but that's a little bit different than an Inter-Services.
Yeah, it's obviously a big step up this level. You're playing against the best of across, particularly against the Army. You know, you're playing across different regiments. So yeah, they'll have to bring their very best games to this second half.
And that's something we should stress for any neutrals out there tuning in to this sort of level the first time. These are the future of forces football. These are future senior Army and RAF players, and for a lucky few, future UK Armed Forces players, if the system works as it should, which it has for a number of years.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's players from each team that have already featured in their men's senior teams. We've certainly had a couple of our under-23s in the last few years make it through to UK Armed Forces as well. So that's what it's all about, trying to provide opportunities for these guys to play regular football, which is not always...
It's charged down, sorry, Bowman's given it away. And the shot from distance is in, and the Army have a second, and the RAF have literally gifted them the second goal. It is Aaron Moore who's fired it in from some distance, and the RAF have such a huge mountain to climb. The Army are 2-0 up.
Yeah, the inquiry's always started with the RAF defence there, but they've really gifted them one there. But what a finish, what a strike that is.
It's a really, really good finish from Aaron Moore. He took it quite early, actually, potentially surprised Oliver Sinclair, who's just sort of shouting at it. He was the captain as well, by the way, the RAF captain, I think, Connor Bowman, who gave it away. It came from a short free kick that they took a little too quickly, maybe. The RAF weren't happy with it. And well, they've been punished.
Yeah, I'm with you. He did take it early. I was surprised myself, but he's connected with it beautifully. The keeper's, perhaps that's taken him a little bit surprised. It was a bit deep, and then he's found the corner really well.
And now the game will open up, because the RAF have 31 minutes to score 3 goals, or their title challenge is over. So they are going to have to up the tempo. Palmer now looking for Buick, and already they are higher up the pitch. Buick, has he kept that in? He didn't quite. Just for a second, Rogerson looked like he might have clipped him as well, but the Army have the goal kick.
Yeah, again, not the easiest pass to deal with, but I think Logan Buick will be a little bit upset with his touch there, so it gets away from him and allows the recovering Army defender just to tidy it up. So I think that's just where they need to be a little bit more, well, a lot more clinical in terms of those moments for the RAF in that final third.
To give the Air Force fans out there a little bit of inspiration maybe for this, I will say last year's fixture between the two games ended in a 2-2 draw. The game is far from done, but the Army might just make me eat my words if they were coming forward there. Here's Buick, a man who did score against the Army last week. Getting it muddled under his feet, but Rogerson with a good tackle.
Yeah, and I think it was the RAF 2-0 up. The Army recovered it away from home, so there's always hope. You know, they definitely won't give up, the RAF boys. They'll still go at it.
This is inter-services football. Anything can happen. I do remember a very, very good free kick actually that the Army scored. So maybe the RAF can turn the tables now. They've got half an hour to do so. Oh, they've got 40 minutes to do so. Sorry. So I've given them more time now. So
yeah, give them another 10 minutes. That's good.
Wheat in there with a challenge, but it's really good pressing from Trice. Aitchison does well.
Yeah.
And now Palmer's going to look wide for Buick, who's starting to play in a more advanced area and getting a little bit of joy with space, but once he gets the ball at the moment, he's not doing a lot with it. He's a man I have pinpointed in my research could be a game changer for the RAF. We haven't seen it so far from Logan Buick, but here he is. That will be a foul. Rogerson's not happy about it, but I'll be honest, from my vantage point here, it looks a stonewall free kick.
Yeah, I agree. He knocked the ball past him, and then he stepped across and knocked him over, so definitely a free kick for me.
Well, we've seen what the Army can do from these sort of set pieces. What can the RAF now conjure up? This can't be short. This can't be passed around the back again. This has got to go in there. This has got to cause something if you're Danny Bartley.
Yeah, I think we're going to see that. I think they've got the numbers up, they've got the height up. There's going to be no short one here. They're going to throw
the Army
it
are
in
actually playing quite a high line from the defensive line, so let's see where he can aim this free kick. They're going to need a good run to get on the end of this one. It'll be Palmer over it. Palmer. It's flicked on, and maybe a chance at the back post for Randall, but it just got away from him. It was Aitchison with the header, he couldn't quite connect.
Yeah, he didn't quite get enough on it, did he, just to redirect it towards the back post. Good areas, though, and you can see he's frustrated there, kicking the floor, but almost did his part, but then couldn't quite redirect it.
Needs to be careful kicking the floor. I thought he was going to cause himself an injury then. Felix Norman will take his time with every goal kick now. I can guarantee you that. The gamesmanship in an inter-services campaign, it's all about respect in a way, but the RAF won't see it that way at the moment. Aitchison charging forward to try and win it. The RAF have really failed to get hold of the ball in the midfield so far. They need to change that. That's a good ball. James.
Numbers forward, always offside.
There's a ball onto the left. It was Hill who was calling for it, the marauding left back. And actually, we haven't spoke about this. We sort of mentioned earlier it was a 4-3-3. I think the Army are sort of playing three at the back, actually, with these marauding wing-backs.
Yeah, it looks like a 3-4 across the midfield, and then 3 up top, maybe 2, and they'll drop one in for a 5 in midfield. But they've definitely got good numbers in the midfield, and I think that's paying dividends for them in terms of second balls.
Chance now for Buick to get it into the penalty area. He has done, looking for Randall at the near post. Better from the RAF, who that's what they want to see.
Yeah, playing in good areas and good numbers in the box as well. Just but well defended at the front post by Moulding.
Well, we mentioned the Army formation, and this is Gowan Griffiths, I believe, 4th inter-services campaign, so he is experienced at this level with this team. Offside against Buick.
Yeah, he's looking right along the line there. He has to keep himself on side there.
So the Army are 2-0 up, and it is the front two that we sort of pinpoint in the first 10 minutes. The two tallest men on the field, I think. I mean, Rogerson might have something to say about that, but Aaron Moore and Owen James, the goal scorers either side of half-time.
Yeah, and their manager will be really pleased with that one. That's where you want your goals coming from. If you can get them in the game, and they've both produced, so he'll be really pleased.
And if it helps, no chance of any offside for the second one.
No, not on that occasion.
Well, the RAF got their sleeve from the throw-in then towards Preen. It was over his head.
You see there again in those areas, the Army are picking up those second balls and they can go again. So, yeah, might need a little bit of help in there for the RAF.
What is it? Let's talk the players on the pitch at the moment. What do they need to do more to get those 50-50s fall into an Air Force shirt? Is it a bit of energy? Do you know what I mean? In the middle of the park, they seem to lack the engine that the Army have.
Yeah, it's anticipation, reading the game, knowing where it's likely to drop into, and then when it's there, getting there, you know, reacting quickly to it, and then doing it with maximum energy. I'm not saying they're not doing that, but the Army are having more joy in those moments, and so they can pick up those balls and then develop play from there. Yeah, so that's one of the big battlegrounds in any match.
That's pretty obvious foul there from Aitchison. Went straight through the back of, I think it was Owen James. And that's, we spoke in the first half about the RAF won't want to give away silly free kicks. That feels like one of them. Yeah, James has done well there. He's kind of got to the ball and then slowed himself down and invited the contact in the back, and then received that and gone over, and yeah, it's a good area for the Army to take a free kick. I do see Josh Rogerson at the back post again. And well, I mean, it's a bit of a mismatch with his marker, if I'm honest. I think it's Dean Hyam who's marking Josh Rogerson, so maybe this is where the Army will look. Yeah, they're pretty much man for man in there, the RAF. It's whipped in, headed away at the near post. I think there has been a change for the Army, by the way. We haven't quite seen it, but that's Lewis Simmons who's just won a free kick, number 16 for the Army. We'll try and figure out who has gone off, but it's caught not just us but the announcing system here in Aldershot by surprise. There is another change currently happening for the Army, and it's number 15 Ryan Fagan coming on, and Asim Ali comes off, so the defensive midfielder from the Lance Corporal, who is his first full season with the team. He's impressed, the number 4. Yeah, he's been really tidy. He's done his job really well, and you know, he's been one of the big reasons why they've managed to pick up those second balls in that midfield area, and then he's used it sensibly and got the ball going again. So he's had a good game. Just fresh legs in that area there. Still trying to figure out who's come on for the Army. I think come off. I think Callum Hill might have come off at left back. The previous change for Lewis Simmons. Yeah, I think you're right. Army free kick then. It's going to be Luke Trice. Whipped in, it's flicked on, and a chance for Rogerson, who couldn't quite connect. That's a clear foul on the goalkeeper. A little bit of aggression, but a big chance for Rogerson at the back. He couldn't connect. Great delivery, but the ball just went up from the header, didn't it? And allowed the keeper to get his hands on it. A bit of a late challenge on him, but he's up and at it, and away we go again. Couldn't be kept in there by Polius. So the Army the first to make the changes, and when they're 2-0 up, it's a little bit of a surprise to me because it was working. Preen now really getting to run. Alfie Mouldin, he's come inside. Mouldin did ever so well, actually. Now the Army just really aggressive in there, aren't they, in this moment? The Army they're quicker and stronger in each tackle at the moment, the men in red, and that's the ball. The ball through was on for Owen James. Once again, he's getting a bit scrappy, but the Army come out with it. The scrappier this game gets, the happier the Army will be, you would think. Here's Preen. We've seen lots of good build-up play, but not the end result so far. That's a good ball, though. And a shout for a handball from the RAF. Referee doesn't give it. That will be a foul by Aitchison. And I'll be honest, I don't think it was on purpose. It was a big slip from the centre-back. So he did go through the back of the Army forward there. Yeah, he's come in pretty strong there, hasn't he? And lost his balance a little bit, and that's kind of taken him through. Yeah, we just had confirmation it was Callum Hill who came off for the Army for Lewis Simmons. So Lewis Simmons now playing on the left-hand side at the wing-back position. Ex-Preston North End Youth Academy. We have saw a yellow card there, by the way. We should reference Laurie Aitchison does get a yellow card. Not really a surprise. I know it wasn't necessarily a vicious challenge, but it's not the first.
Yeah, and it's a tackle from behind, and that's something we ruled out of the game a long time ago. It's a dangerous challenge if you get it wrong. So yeah, I think good decision there from the referee just to calm that moment down.
So we've been looking towards those big men again. Doesn't find him. That was Ryan Fagan's first real involvement in the game, and he's not quite up to the tempo, maybe. So we mentioned Louis Simmons has come on, number 16 on the left-hand side, and well, the RAF won't be pleased to know that he did score against them last year. So
yeah, it looks like he's going to play in that kind of wing-back position, so you can see the shape there a little bit, the three centre-backs and the two wide guys, and then you've got the two holding midfielders and like a front three, but with a number 10 dropping in to help in the midfield. So it can shift from a 3-4-3 to a 3-5-2 pretty quickly, and it's been effective for them.
Bit of a wasted free kick by the RAF just then, giving the ball back to the Army. Good win, though, by Cameron Wheat. And now Randall looking to get himself involved. A very skillful player, clearly, but struggling to deal with the physicality of the Army defence at the moment.
Yeah, I think himself and Luke Preen are going to be the key to kind of opening up this defence of the Army. I think what you're seeing a little bit of is Luke Preen out in these channels, brilliantly holding up the ball and dealing with the physicality of Alfie Moulding, but probably don't want him really in those areas, so he's going to need support in there and free him up to be more central to do his main role, which is to get the goals for this RAF side.
That was good press from the RAF forwards. They've forced the Army into a mistake, and now Wheat will, from the throw-in, look to force something, but it was just rushing it a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit short, wasn't it? And it picked up.
And now a chance for the Army, a big chance for Fagan in the middle if he could have found him, but he doesn't. Chance now for Polius. Looking again for one of the goal scorers today, Aaron Moore. That was a chance, he didn't take it. That's a great win in the midfield, though, by Trice. And a little bit of a late challenge by Trice as well.
I think Atkinson was looking at from the moment he got the ball, really.
So, with 62 minutes on the clock, let's look to the RAF bench, because they are potentially in the need of something. But hang on a minute, because the Army have a chance. Maybe again, the substitute coming forward, trying to find his way through. It'll go wide. Simmons inside, outside, finding a shot into the side netting.
Yeah, great feet, stood his player up, then dropped the shoulder, but couldn't quite direct his cross into the box.
Well, the RAF did make a change from their 0-0 draw against the Navy. I don't think it's worked out how Danny Bartley wanted, so they're going to resort back to it. Matt Hendry comes on for Josh Randall, so they're back to the front three that played against you guys last week. But well, so far they are lining up a triple change, though, I think. So we'll wait for the board.
Yeah, I think you commented on Randall a moment ago, not as effective. He was really effective the early part of the game, not so much later, so they made that change to bring last week's winger on as well.
Another change sees Mackenzie Gulliver come on in the midfield for Joseph Walters. He's in the, or previously has played for Wolves Academy, I believe. That's what our notes told us. That's what our research told us. So he comes into the centre of midfield as well. So defensive midfielder Joseph Walters goes off. And the final change sees Armani Riley, who has my favourite name of the entire team sheet today, coming on for Dean Hyan. The firefighter goes off. A fourth change, actually, from the RAF as well. So they're throwing everything. Adam Lamb comes on, the centre-back from RAF Cosford, and off comes the booked Laurie Aitchison. It's 4 changes. The RAF are rolling the dice.
Yeah, freshening it up. I think Atkinson had picked up a little bit of a knock. He looked like he was suffering a little bit, so you can understand that. And then fresh legs and fresh emphasis in the midfield in attacking areas. So we'll see how the RAF can respond to that.
Here's Armani Riley. I'm having a lot of fun. Going to say that name a lot in the second half. It's his second season with the RAF. He will look to bring them back into this in style, you would expect.
It's his first touch, and a bit of a wasteful one there from
Adam Lamb.
Yeah, just knocked it back to the goalkeeper.
RAF pressing higher with their substitutes now, but the Army have done well. And it's in to Fagan. Fagan for McGinley, gone short. The referee has called for the free kick. Referee called before the linesman did there, I will say, and the RAF are a little bit frustrated by it.
Yeah, I think they thought they'd pressed well on it fairly, but the referee's seen contact that we couldn't see from here and given the free kick.
So with 25 minutes to go, you'd argue the game is the Army's to lose in a lot of ways. They've looked very comfortable, but maybe the changes will make the difference. Maybe the Matt Hendry effect will make the difference. He is someone who impressed you last week. You were surprised to see him not start. Looking to win a flick on there, number 16, Matt Hendry. So is he the guy to change things for the Air Force?
Yeah, potentially. He produced some really good moments on that left-hand side against us in the first half, particularly created some good opportunities for Logan Buick, but he couldn't take them. But he was a real threat down that side. So if they can get him released, get Preen in the box, then that might be an option for them. I think the Army will just be pleased that they've kind of managed to kill the game, stifle it a little bit since their goal. But you can feel the RAF frustration growing a little bit on the back of just giving that away, that goal.
It just grows into the Army's game, that frustration. So maybe that is what Danny Bartley's thinking with the changes, freshen it up, get some different attitudes out on the field. Chance maybe for the Army. It's a shot away. It was a really good sliding tackle. I think that was from Adam Lamb, actually. Long towards Armani Riley. He's on the ball now. Good spin from the young centre midfielder. And now Hendry looking to make something of it, forcing something. I mean, it will go for an Army throw, but...
Yeah, the fresh legs in that midfield, all of a sudden picking up that second ball, and they can play from the midfield, and they're into the final third. Didn't quite work out for the winger, but those fresh legs might help them in those areas.
Good ball wide, but charged down by Bryant Polius, who has impressed on the right wing back.
Yeah, it's been a good battle between him and Cam Wick, that's for sure.
Good ball onto, it's a really good flicked header. It was towards Armani Riley. Riley will get it back. It's flicked on, maybe a chance for the RAF. It's flicking around in the penalty area, and it will be a goal kick. Yeah. Just not quite getting the bounce of the ball of the Air Force at the moment.
Never really sat down for anyone to have a proper go at it, did it? It was a little bit of a bouncing ball, never really settled down, and then breaks away for a goal kick.
So the sun setting down here in Aldershot, but is the sun going to set down on the RAF title challenge? We're going to find out in the next 22 minutes.
Yeah, still no direct threat on the Army's goal from the RAF, so they'll be frustrated by that, but we might produce something here.
Just for a thought for a second, Polius might be able to keep it in with his pace. The Army are very happy for this game to sort of dawdle down to the 90 minutes now. 2-0 up. They don't need to push themselves, but that is... Well, I mean, he'll blame the pitch, Felix Norman.
Yeah, 100%, so would I.
Maybe that's the little bit of a bouncing ball the RAF need to ignite some sort of comeback here. Corner taken short, though. Preen came short for it, which maybe not the best use of his height and heading ability. And the Army have managed to stifle any attack there. Felt like an opportunity wasted there.
Yeah, I think Griff said it last week. They normally have some set pieces up their sleeves, the RAF. They haven't managed, if that was one of them, they haven't managed to pull it off on this occasion. But they drill their... Traditionally, they've drilled those set pieces quite a lot, but didn't work out on that occasion.
It's in towards Palmer. Really strong tackle from Rogerson. Referee says foul. So the RAF will have another chance maybe to get this into the penalty area. I'm not quite sure how I would have given that if I was the referee. It felt quite 50-50 at times, but it was a strong challenge, let's say.
Yeah, he had the momentum, didn't he, coming from deep, and I think the referees felt that he's gone into his back and then won the header on the back of that advantage, so to give him the free kick.
Ian Palmer starting to get on the ball a little bit more for the RAF over the free kick. The sun in Felix Norman eyes. It's whipped in, headed away well, and the Army deal with it once again.
Yeah, important clearance there on the edge of the box.
Armani Riley with a good sliding tackle.
He's made a really good start, Armani Riley. He's been impressive, hasn't he? He's been good technically on the ball. He's kept possession, and then when he's had to do his dirty work out of possession, if you like, he's done a really good job there as well.
We saw last week in the 0-0 draw with yourself, and we gave the Navy defence a lot of credit for shutting out the RAF attack, and I'm going to give the Army defence a lot of credit for the 70 minutes. They have shut out the the RAF attack, but are we seeing enough from the Air Force attackers?
Well, I think you're right. The Army have been excellent. They've been their shape's been really good. They've been aggressive. They've been around. It's not just aggression though. It's been in the right place, understanding their roles and responsibilities. And as I said earlier on, no direct threat on the keeper. I don't think he's had to make a save that's been a shot on target. So
chance for the Army on the break here, and it's a big chance for Polius to come forward. He's got a man over at the back post. Wonderful sliding tackle. Wonderful tackle from Henry Jordan. The Army can recycle it though. Armani Riley sliding in there as well for the RAF. And it's wide for Polius again, who's can be quite dangerous. He's coming inside on his left, back onto the outside. I mean, he left Mackenzie Gulliver on the floor there.
Yeah, a really good counter-attack. They had numbers up, but most of them were in front of Polius, so he couldn't play the square ball across. They would have been offside, so he decided to go himself, and that little moment's just given the RAF and Henry Jordan time to get across, and he's done an excellent job again there to defend it. Breaks again, but no follow-up from the Army on that occasion. But a really great counter-attack from them, really busy still at this moment in the game.
Long throw from Moore. And he's gone for the acrobatic. Wow. I mean, the referee had already whistled, but if that flies in, Aldershot rises to his feet.
Yeah, one to note, the penalty spot with that throw in, that's a massive throw from him.
Ryan Fagan it was, he went for the overhead kick. The throw was Aaron Moore. So, yeah, one for you to note for next week, I'm sure. Looking over the top to Preen, the referee's flag will go up. He's not happy, showing the frustration again, Luke Preen, that we saw last week against the Navy, and actually he's earned himself a little bit of a talking to from the referee, and maybe more. The referee's reaching to his pocket here, and it's maybe one complaint too many from Luke Preen.
Yeah, it looked offside from where I was just glancing up, but they're the runs that he'll need to make to try and exploit that space behind, but just the timing of the run and the release of the ball has to be a little bit better.
Joe McCormack says go. Matt Hendry, man who mentioned him earlier, from Scotland. So, look, he's on the pitch. Can he make the difference for the RAF? Keep your comments coming on Facebook and on YouTube. We'll do our best to read them out. Change for the Army on the way then. These substitutes from the Army probably designed to sort of stop any momentum in the game from the RAF right now. It'll be Dylan McGinley coming off, who is the debutant in the midfield. He's done quite well from the RLC. He comes off, and I'm just trying to see the number of the player who's come on. And we will wait. Didn't quite catch the board from our vantage point. It was number 14, I'm told. So that's Dion Jones, who serves with the Royal Welsh Guards. He is a former Chester FC player, and I'm not talking Youth Academy, I'm talking first team Chester FC. So a bit of experience brought on for the Army potentially. It's wide for Polius now to drive and find the cross. It's deflected, and just nobody in a red shirt to come on the end of it, on the edge of the box.
Yeah, great work from Polius there in a 1v1 situation, delivers the ball, and then he's making his recovery run excellently as well, so his manager will be really pleased with him.
Here come the Air Force. Good ball towards the back post, and it's kept in by Hendry. And a shot across the box, fired across. It was Cameron Wheat, who does have an eye for goal, but it's more of a cross in a lot of ways. The game is starting to stretch and open up, and I'm not quite sure which side that will suit. Here's Preen, just getting a moment away, and a good ball through for Buick. A chance for the RAF, and he's missed it. Logan Buick, I think, may have been offside anyway, because the referee's linesman flag did go up.
Yeah, just a little bit of transition there both ways, and then Preen gets hold of the ball, drives into that space. Buick's on the outside of him, managed to slip in through. We haven't seen too much of that from the front three. I think we saw Matt Hendry as well pulling out of the air from an earlier cross, so those three starting to show a little bit more, so it'll be interesting to see if they can find the end product.
The goal kick wasn't the best, but it was passed on quite well, but maybe a chance for Hendry. He's done very well, Matt Hendry. Inside, chance for Preen, and it'll come back for Hendry. And that might be the chance the RAF needed to go in, because with 15 minutes to go and 3 goals to get, you can't see those blades over the bar.
Well, it was a short goal kick that the RAF have jumped onto, and Hendry again has had a really good impact since coming on, and he's done really well against his defender, chopped inside, but again it just didn't break for them cleanly, and then eventually the shot goes over the bar.
It's a big chance, and it fell to the substitute, who could have forced his way back into the manager's thinking maybe, but he couldn't find the back of the net. And now a chance for Simmons to find a cross. He couldn't get past the RAF defenders.
Yeah, brilliant work from Fagan. He's again a sub that's come on and made a good impression.
He's done really well here. Armani Riley getting a foot in, but he'll fall back for Simmons, who did hurt the RAF last year. He's found a low cross, headed away, or cleared away at the near post.
Yeah, Fagan and Simmons really impressing on that wide left-hand side there, linking up, beating their players 1v1, and then trying to deliver those crosses. Really good football.
Gerwin Griffiths' team showing that they have talent in reserve as well, with a couple of substitutes coming on and impressing. Something I'm sure might worry you ahead of next week.
I'm not worried.
Long throw once again, looking for James. There was a push in there, the referee saw.
Yeah, we've seen some moments at both ends now. It's the subs have definitely had an effect on both sides. They've impacted the game, and all of a sudden, where it was become a little bit of an attritional kind of midfield battle for the first 20-25 minutes, now we're seeing some action in the attacking areas.
Good win by Rogerson. Now a chance for Wheat to come forward from left back into Armani Riley, who has impressed since coming on. That's not the pass he was looking for. Buick back in there, does concede the free kick.
Yeah,
now,
Rogerson really good there, anticipated the pass into his feet. I think Buick's looking for it behind, but Rogerson reads it, steps in and intercepts really well.
Now I know this is a different age range, but the RAF are the senior inter-services champions at the moment, and they, at this level, don't look like putting up a title challenge today. How disappointing would that be as a service? I know you can only speak from a Navy point of view, but if that was the Navy, would you feel disappointed?
I think you'll assess the performances. I think the overall result will come if you perform well enough. So I think the disappointment.
Sorry, chance maybe. He's going to take the shot.
Yeah, I don't think necessarily the tournament. If your performances aren't at the standard that you can produce, that's where the real disappointment lies. Because you're not going to win the tournament if you don't perform to what you think is your best.
That's a really good flick. He's onside, Fagan, and a chance for the Army to finish it off, and he has done. He has done. Ryan Fagan, the impressive substitute, makes it Army 3, RAF 0. The Air Force's title challenge is over, and it's all down to a winner-takes-all Navy versus Army next week.
Yeah, another really good finish. Found space, took advantage of the overload up there. The RAF taking that risk again. But he's been really impressive since he came on, and that was a really cultured finish. Difficult bouncing ball, bobbling ball to control, but he did really well to finish it off.
The RAF having to throw people forward, and they got punished for it. Ryan Fagan getting on the score sheet then. Maybe just saying to Gerwin Griffiths, start me against the Army, the Navy. Good ball inside, and here he is again, Fagan. And the RAF really need to be careful, because this may get a little embarrassing for them. Polius on the outside for the Army. Looking for Fagan again. Well cut out, though, by Gulliver. And now the substitute, Matt Hendry, running in his man, getting potentially across in. Charged down well, though, by Danny Constable.
Yeah, Danny Constable's done well there. He's kept his composure, hasn't allowed him to get around the outside of him, then managed to stop the cross. It's a really good 1v1 defending there.
The RAF are really going to have to be careful here. 10 minutes to go. They are 3-0 down. They'll be hurting, but they have to try and keep their heads, because this could get a lot worse if not. There is space in that RAF defence that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, well, they'll be determined to get something out of it. They'll keep trying. Just seen there from on the left wing. Matt Hendry trying to do his piece, couldn't quite pull it off, but yeah, they won't stop. There's no doubt about that. They'll try and get something out of this last 10 minutes of the game.
Well, Gervin Griffiths will be very, very happy. 3-0 up, a very good performance from the Army. Could have been more at times. They've been good going forward. They've been good defensively. They are going to be a test for your Royal Navy side next week.
Yeah, they've been really impressive defensively. For me, that's been the big area for them where they've managed to stifle anything the RAF have tried to produce. They've taken advantage of moments to score their goals for sure, but they've been really clinical in those moments. And as you alluded to earlier, when you have the moments, they are often few and far between, so they've been really good in those times.
Well, if it stays the way it does, and I should say if, you never know, the RAF could come back and get 4 goals in 9 minutes. It could happen. But if it stays the way it does, next week's game between the Navy and the Army, it's quite simple, actually. If the Army win, they are champions. If it's a draw, the Army are champions. The Navy have to win at home in Portsmouth.
Yeah, absolutely. But you'll go into every game trying to win it. The Army will want to win it. We'll want to win it. So, and we'll see how it pans out on the evening.
Can the RAF get some sort of success on the board, maybe coming forward? That was a push in the back from Rogerson. Referee says throw in, but it was 2 hands there.
Yeah, Rogerson's held him up again. The fullbacks, we've seen on both sides, have done really well in dealing with the threat of their wide players, and that's been where they've struggled to kind of expose them, the RAF. So yeah, well done to the fullbacks of the Army.
It might have been a fairly long throw actually from the RAF, looking for number 17, Tom O'Hanlon. A lot of frustrated figures in the sky blue shirts, as you'd expect, but they will want to, in this final 7.5 minutes, get on the score sheet, score a goal in this championship.
Yeah, 100%. Two games without a goal will be a real disappointment for them if they can't get something, but they're in again.
Good ball behind. Fagan's in again for a chance for his second. He smacked the post. Ryan Fagan has certainly made an impact for the British Army. He could have made it 4-0 in the RAF. That's disaster for them. Armani Riley. Palmer. Just miscommunication.
Yeah, well read again from the centre-back.
The RAF have made a change, by the way. I think in the melee of the 3rd goal, as we mentioned, Tom O'Hanlon has come on up front, number 17. So it's a bit of a 4-4-2. The Air Force going for it to try and get on the score sheet, but they are a little bit wide open at the back. Ryan Fagan saying this is a fun 20 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, he's been exceptional, hasn't he? Again, a great through ball into him. His pace, he's gone through the middle of the defence, and again, a good strike, but just catches the inside of the post, so can't take his opportunity.
Chance for the Air Force to lump it forward. That's not something we've seen them do in this game, so that shows just about how the game plan has gone out the window today now.
Yeah, and you see the front three haven't made the run for that. They're not expecting it. That's not really how they have played. So, yeah, it's just gone straight back to their goalkeeper.
Good flick, and now the Army look to bring it forward. The game has sort of lost a bit of zip, but maybe Preen can add something here and put some pressure on the Army. Chance now for Hendry. Hendry, who had a big chance for the RAF before the third Army goal to get them, try and get them back into it. He couldn't do it. He got forward to the edge of the box. Really good block. Really good block. Still there. Good footwork as well. He's gone down. Referee says that the Army defender got the ball. I think it was Mackenzie Gulliver whose quick feet got him into the penalty area.
Yeah, some patient play there from the RAF, but excellent defending from the Army, you have to say. They got the bodies in the way, some emergency defending, and they were always there ready to step on to close the space and then deny the RAF any real open opportunity.
We are very, very pleased to bring you this Under-23s Inter-Services football match live on the Forces News YouTube channel and on Facebook. But we're not done yet. We're going to have next week's climactic finale between the Navy and the Army. And then looking further ahead, we've got Inter-Services netball for the first time. We've got the senior Inter-Services men's football tournament with games at Fratton Park and Shrewsbury Town FC. We've got the women's Inter-Services football tournament. So lots of top-class football coming for you live here on the Forces News YouTube channel, amongst other top sports like the netball, like the rugby to come.
Yeah, really looking forward to the women's and the senior men's competitions, as they've got I think all the teams have got a game or two in preparation for that in the lead up to it as well. So those squads are getting together and starting to put in their preparations for those two big tournaments.
Well, we had a comment earlier from the reigning women's Inter-Services champions from the RAF who were watching on, so they will be, I think, in action today. Actually, I think they've got a friendly fixture, so they'll be preparing. They will be looking to retain their title, as will the man to the left of me next week, when the holders, the Royal Navy, almost defend their championship against the Army. The referee has had enough of the time wasting, and I'll be honest, at 3-0 up with 4 minutes to go, does he need to time waste like this?
I don't know that he was actually time wasting. I think he was waiting for some movement and a throw in that he could throw in. I might be being naive there, but I think he was just waiting for his teammates to do something, and then the referees judged that as being time wasting. So a bit of a cheap booking.
Do these bookings sort of tot up over Inter-Services years, or does it?
Representative football, so otherwise it'd be a year to serve your ban. So the next rep game, whatever that might be, will be where you have to serve that.
I'm sure he'll come out of his pocket as well. That's over towards Fagan, who has impressed, and Fagan's brought it down too. Ryan Fagan into the penalty area, away from one challenge, got the shot away, good block. Fagan could have had a hat-trick.
He's really making a case to start next week, isn't he?
Polius now. Chance for Trice. Polius. Good play from the Army.
Yeah, space to play in.
The RAF have, well, I mean, I think they're waiting for the final whistle themselves now. Put an end to it.
Yeah, tough period now for the last couple of minutes of a game when you're staring at a 3-goal difference. It's but you've got to keep on it. You've got to maintain your concentration and your effort level so that you try and nick something, but you definitely don't let anything go in your end.
I mean, let's try and look at some positives for the RAF. Armani Riley, come off the bench, number 16, has shown something. I'm looking at Matt Hendry, also come off the bench, shown a little bit of something.
Yeah, I think they've had some really good individual performances. I think they've created not as many moments as they would have liked to, but that hasn't been the detriment. I think Luke Preen up top's had a really good game in terms of his hold-up play. He just hasn't had that success, and behind him May now. Luke
Preen in behind to get on the score sheet. He's pulled it wide, and that just about sums up the RAF's day and the RAF's tournament as a whole.
Yeah, big opportunity there, big opportunity, but unable to take it. He'll be really disappointed with that.
When it's not going your way, those don't go in. But if that was the other end in the Army, that flies into the bottom corner, let's be honest.
Yeah, the Army are a bit clinical in those moments, and unfortunately for Luke Preen, they are unable to take his big chance.
But he has played well, Luke Preen, like you say. The build-up play has been good. The finishing touch, not quite there. But once he gets that, the RAF have potentially got a really superstar striker on their hands.
Yeah, in fairness, he scores a lot of goals throughout the season. He's always on the score sheet, so he'll be, like I say, he'll be really disappointed not to take that moment.
I expect big celebrations from the Army bench once we get to full time. But the job is only, for them, half done. They have to go to Portsmouth next week, and they have to get something. Change for the British Army. Number 17, Jack McKay, is coming on, and it's the end of the day for number 11, Owen James, one of the best players on the pitch today in a lot of ways.
Yeah, he's had a really good game. Not so much, haven't seen so much of him in the second half, but really impressive in the first half. So just going to freshen it up for stoppage time.
A man to watch for the Royal Navy next week for sure, but also a man to watch in the future of Forces football, because this tournament does happen a month and a half before the senior tournament. You impress in these games, you might find yourself in with a shout of a spot in those squads. It's up to Long, the goalkeeper. Sort of flapped at it, didn't he, Felix Norman?
Yeah, he got up and won the ball, and then he got landed with one, didn't he? So he's probably asking for a free kick there, but the referee's not seeing it that way.
There is 5 minutes of injury time. There has been a few goals, so
they're going to throw this one in, I think.
The RAF get 3 goals in 5 minutes? Who knows? Corner in.
Oh, great corner.
It's a really good corner, yeah, right underneath the goalkeeper, but he couldn't get a blue shirt on it, and now the Army look to come forward again. Fagan once again, and it's going to break through, and the Army have got a man over. What defending that is from Armani Riley. I mean, 3-0 down, you don't necessarily expect to see that desire.
Yeah, fair play to him. That was a brilliant recovery from him.
And the ball over the top now. Buick might be in behind the goalkeeper, have to make a smart save. Route 1, but it worked.
That was fully Route 1, but almost produced something. They go short. No.
Armani Riley, by the way, just special shout out again. That is some determination to stop you from going 4-0 down.
Yeah, because that was a big opportunity that he's thwarted there.
Corner taken short, not for the first time today. Whipped in, Polius is underneath it, and Rogerson says, I'll deal with this. He doesn't. Polius should though, and there it is, away from the Army. Referee kind of got in the way a little bit there, but now the Army... Look, the Army want a fourth. Look at the way they're pushing forward. The Army sense a historic result, or a more historic result. And
yeah, they won't stop, and that's the beauty of having the option for 5 subs, because you get real freshness and you can go again. So it's really welcome that those 2 extra substitutions. It really keeps the game flowing, and at this age group, and where they're not necessarily playing as much football in civilian teams, the energy levels can drop at the end. So it's been a real bonus of an addition. That.
Not quite sure what the delay is at the moment. Luke Preeney's... I think the corner flag's flown over. And I think that's what the delay is. Oh, wait, no, there is...
Shin pad.
A shin pad missing.
That's eagle eyes from the ref.
That is determination to the craft, let's say, from the Royal Navy referee. Luke tries to whip in the free kick for the Army. Cleared away, and now Riley.
Committing anyone to that now. They're all back still. They've only put 3 up there, so you can see what they're thinking.
Here's Hendry. Good ball through. And the RAF get on the score sheet. Buick looking to spin. Couldn't get it in its control. And we are mere seconds away from the final whistle, you would think. Maybe a minute or so. And this will hurt the RAF.
Yeah, you don't want to shift 3 goals and not score, so they'll have to have a look at themselves in this one. I'm sure that Danny will go again with them when they reconvene, but yeah, a disappointing result for no doubt. But the Army will be absolutely buzzing. Really big start for them. So yeah, big challenge for us next week.
Ball over the top. And it is Jack McKay chasing it down for the Army, looking to make a cameo appearance of his own to remember. Comment on Facebook, Paul Corey says, well done the Army lads, a fair result from a dominant Army team. And I'll be honest with you, Paul, I'm not sure any of the most passionate RAF supporters out there can argue with you on that. Buick is getting a little bit feisty as we head towards the final whistle. Bit of frustration. I think it was Riley actually. This is his second season with the inter-services, with the RAF, his second inter-services, so he's not inexperienced in these sort of games, so you don't really want to see a cheap booking picked up, but this is what Armani Riley has.
Yeah, like you say, I think a bit of frustration overflowing there, trying to get the ball back, win it back, hasn't been able to, and then yeah, just been a bit late with his challenge, I think.
Gemma Bostock says, well done to the Army, well done indeed, because they are just seconds away from a memorable inter-services win against a fierce rival. Everyone's sort of looking at the referee at the moment.
Yeah, have to put the lights on in a minute.
We are at 40 seconds over the allotted 5 minutes of added time. We're still playing. The RAF have the ball in the penalty area potentially. It's headed across. There's a foul by Hendry.
Oh, he's pushed him.
And there is the full-time whistle. And what a performance from the British Army. What a performance, what a result, and what a challenge laid down to yourself, the holders of the inter-services in the Royal Navy.
Yeah, congratulations to the Army. Really impressive performances, both in and out of possession. Really stifled the RAF throughout. Won the midfield battle when they had to, and at the other end were really clinical, played forward really early, managed to get runners in behind, took advantage of a slip up from the RAF for the second goal, and then an excellent third goal to finish it in the second half. So they've been impressive, lots for us to look at, and looking forward to playing them next week.
I don't think we will be seeing any sort of trophy celebrations today. I know they do have trophies for all these little the fixtures between the services, but it's all attention now turns to next week. I'd like to thank you, Chris, for joining us on commentary. You've been immense, as always, with your expertise. I'm sure you'll have watched the Army closely ahead of next week. I'd like to thank everyone here as part of our team, our two cameramen, Chris Giles, we've got Mark Hearn, we've got our reporter, roving reporter on the ground, Kath Brazier. Christopher Angwin is also here as a technician side. We've got Sarah Burles, Scott Richmond and Craig Tilley in the office. We have seen the Army absolutely dismantle the RAF today, and they have sent a message to the Royal Navy. Next week, you have to beat us, or the championship is ours. It's going to be a climactic, dramatic, entertaining title finale next week in Portsmouth. Well, it should be one to watch. We'll see you then.